Hello, I'm Urban Scout, and I'm here to talk about rewilding. So a lot of people here think that this technology is just going to get more and more advanced and maybe we'll be living in space someday, but there's a lot of people out here who actually believe that this is all going to come crashing down in the next 50 years. And whether we're talking peak oil, economic collapse, ecological collapse, whatever that is. So there's a movement called Rewild, and it means to return to a more natural or wild state. It's the process of undoing this domestication that we've done to the whole planet. And let's see, okay, so a lot of people come to rewilding for different reasons, like I said: sustainability, freedom, spirituality, survival. Some people just do it because they think it's cool and they want to get laid, like me. Let's see, okay, so to talk about the unsustainability of civilization. Civilization fuels itself through monocropping. Grains, and grains have to have first stage succession in order to grow. So in order to grow grains, we have to bulldoze a forest to create a field. Well, monocropping is a very bad way of doing things. It creates a famine problem. So in order to combat famine, we have to have a constant surplus of food, which means we have to bulldoze more to get that more food. But having that surplus of food makes our population grow exponentially, because that's what animal populations do, have more food than they need. So you take full-time agriculturalists, and you add their food surplus, you get population growth and density, and that gives us an unsustainable ecological phenomenon we call civilization, which is not going to last. So, freedom is another reason people come to rewilding, because freedom from civilization is what we want. We want psychological freedom, and we want physical freedom. So we learn hunting and gathering and gardening and those kinds of things to give us that physical freedom, but also we study a lot to get that. Okay, spirituality is also another reason. I prefer to call that sense of place. And rewilding and really connecting with the land and being able to live off the land requires a deep connection to that place. So spirituality forms one of the pillars of rewilding. Survival is another element. That's probably why most people come here, like my graphic up there. Most people come to rewilding because they think civilization's collapsed and they want to survive through it. So they come here because they think skills and the primitive skills and those kinds of things are going to help them and their families survive. So what does rewilding look like? Well, to some people it might look like starting a fire, to other people it might look like just going outside more often. It's a process. And so that means that it's, people are doing different things depending where they are in that process. And many rewilders believe that the most important element to rewilding is changing the way our minds work. So we do this ancient art form you may have heard of called reading. And we read a lot of anthropological texts and common field guides and things like that. The information from this stuff is growing. Discussion. Rewilders also have an affinity with hackers in the sense that we have we believe in freedom of information. And so we have websites and stuff like that, which seems hypocritical, I know. But let's see here. Discussion. Oh yeah, observation. Observation is key to reconnecting with that land base that I was talking about. And you'll probably look like a hippie. But that's okay. That can be okay. Okay, it's not okay. But we can do it. No, okay, let's see what else. Hunting. Hunting frees us from having to go to the store. That's part of the freedom. It also connects us with the animals, part of that spirituality. And it's also not relying on agriculture, which is part of the sustainability gimmick. So also we don't really necessarily have to use primitive technology to do that like that guy's doing. But gathering plants, again, frees us from the store. It's a lot easier to do to just go out and gather plants. You don't have to work to pay for the food at the grocery store. You can get them for free. Plus, you don't have to go to the doctor because all the plants are where doctors get their medicines from. You can cut out the middleman. Gardening. Indigenous people had sustainable practices that helped them grow food that did not involve agriculture, such as permaculture, as it's commonly called now, but horticulture and gardening as well. We do that too. So dismantling. A lot of harmful infrastructure still exists here, and part of rewilding involves dismantling the civilization that already exists here in order for us to open up more spaces to rewild, and more spaces for wild animals to move back in and rewild as well. Overall, rewilding looks like fun. We're talking about the collapse of civilization here. Is this the apocalypse, or are we going to have a bad time, or are we going to have a good time? Let's have a good time. And so obviously a nuclear bomb isn't going to be that much fun, but whatever. So, okay, so the key to it, though, is to start rewilding now, because if you don't do that, you're probably going to die and collapse, and even if you do, you might already die. So if you don't start now, you might die. And what I have this motto, it's called "Just Do It." I made it up like 5 minutes ago. Wait, am I going to get sued if I say that? No, but seriously, if you want to learn more about rewilding, come to my website, urbanscout@rewild.org. Thank you very much. Have a good night.